You pull a card, stare at the artwork for a second, and immediately reach for the little white book to tell you what it means. But relying on a guidebook turns reading tarot into a memory test, forcing you to prioritize a manual over the symbols on the table. We are going to leave the book closed. Instead, we'll walk through how to perform a highly detailed 3-card reading using nothing but the visual language built right into the Rider-Waite-Smith system. You will learn how to decode the embedded imagery, calculate how the card's elements interact with each other, and read the mechanics of reversed cards. By trusting the physical evidence in front of you over a standard set of definitions, you create a psychological map that is uniquely tailored to the person sitting across the table. Step 1. When you lay out 3 cards, look at the dominant background colors. This immediately reveals the overarching aura of the spread. A heavy presence of yellow signals a reading grounded in the mundane, dealing with mental processing and the practical conditions of life. A wash of blue signals the opposite, tapping into the subconscious, healing, and a direct connection to the spiritual realm. Next, check for major arcana cards. Unlike the rest of the deck handling daily practical challenges, the 22 majors represent significant spiritual milestones. You can view them as the Fool's Journey. It starts at 0 with the Fool, representing pure divinity without the burden of conscious experience. The timeline progresses through life's trials until it reaches the World at card 21, where the individual achieves full, integrated consciousness and no longer relies on an external divine source. For the remaining cards, observe the characters closely. Pay attention to their posture and what they are physically doing in relation to their environment. By identifying the color aura and separating the major spiritual lessons from the minor daily tasks, you establish the psychological stakes of the entire reading before you even name a single card. We can categorize the 56 cards of the minor arcana into 4 elemental building blocks. Wands represent fire and passion, cups are water and emotion, swords carry the air of conflict, pentacles deal with tangible material wealth. The numbered pip cards physically illustrate characters handling these elements. You will see someone aggressively defending their fiery convictions, or perhaps tightly hoarding their earthly resources. The court cards, the pages, knights, queens, and kings, represent specific personalities or archetypes currently operating in the seeker's life. To understand exactly who these people are, we use the alchemy of the court. This technique blends the elemental association of the character's rank with the element of their suit. Take the King of Wands. The rank of king is governed by air, representing mental authority and strategy. When you combine that air with the fire of the wand suit, you get the heir of fire. He applies careful, calculating thought to direct his intense passion and drive. Element profiling gives you a highly nuanced character portrait that actively drives the narrative, preventing you from relying on a flat, memorized definition. As you read your layout, remember that the cards do not exist in a vacuum. They actively interact with their direct neighbors through a system called elemental dignities. Look at the outer perimeter. Cards of the same suit amplify each other, and friendly polarities collaborate, like fire with air. Now look at the inner crosshairs. When contrary elements appear side by side, they act as enemies, weakening and canceling each other out. If you pull a wand directly next to a cup, the fire of ambition and drive is actively dampened by the water of an unpredictable, volatile emotional state. Calculating these elemental dignities transforms a row of isolated cards into a living ecosystem where energies actively compete for dominance or collaborate to move the seeker forward. We also have to address cards dealt upside down. The most common pitfall is viewing reversed cards simply as the strict opposite or the negative version of their upright meaning. Instead, treat a reversal as energy that has been internalized, blocked from flowing naturally, or currently manifesting its shadow aspect. A reversed cup indicates that the seeker needs to nurture themselves rather than pouring their emotional water out for others, or it shows that a specific emotional flow is currently dammed up. Step 3 is the final synthesis. You take the visual auras, the elemental dignities, and any reversed energies, and combine them into one complete sentence per card, reading left to right as past, present, and future. In practice, that sounds like this. A blocked emotional past, represented by a reversed cup, creates friction with a current fiery desire to act, represented by an upright wand. This leads to a stalemate, eventually resolved by the future mental clarity of a sword sitting in a peaceful blue aura. Stringing these specific data points together forms a deeply cohesive, personalized story. Look at the progress we've made. You analyzed the visual auras, calculated the exact elemental interactions, and decoded internal energies, all without opening a guidebook. You constructed a functional psychological map of a situation, completely bypassing rote memorization. The next step is execution. Leave your deck out on your desk. Draw 3 cards every morning, and tell the story using only the evidence you can physically see on the table. Trusting your visual intuition is how you move from reciting a textbook to speaking a language.